Now, these aren't laws that you're familiar with. These aren't the kind of laws that are trying to force you to act or behave a certain way or to control you in any sort of way. These laws are more like a guidance system to help point you, like this big green arrow, to help point you in the direction of your true spiritual power. Number one, don't be bothered by feeling bothered, right? When you feel uncomfortable, don't just immediately get up and try to remedy the situation and bring about more comfort. Instead, what if you sit in that for at least a moment and you really look at it and you look at that feeling bothered? What if you were honest with yourself? What if you really peered in with your conscious awareness instead of just changing the scene? I wonder what we might find. Do not fear feelings of helplessness. Instead, remember that it is only the herald of new powers and new transformation to come. So let's say this slightly differently. Don't be afraid of a hard time. Don't be afraid of things not going the way that you don't want them to go. Don't be afraid. Instead, welcome it. Welcome the challenge that you feel. If you've been feeling good and all of a sudden you wake up and you're having a more rough week, all of a sudden there's these manifestations and situations that are coming in and taking place that again make you feel a little bit bothered. Don't choose to feel bothered by them. Don't be afraid, because you know that the hardest times in life are just transformation in disguise. Remember that. It's easy to remember that when things are going well, I know. But when these laws really come into practice, when you really see who's got true conscious awareness, true conscious expansion, is when things are going rough. Because it's very easy to be high vibe when everything's going the way you want it to. But what about when things don't go the way you want them to? What about when the unexpected happens? What about when change occurs? Because life is a continuous process of it. What then? Are you still going to be conscious and aware? Or are you going to fall asleep? Because the true spiritual warrior wakes up even in the greatest of situations. Number 3, in any situation, any conflict, really any situation at all, don't react. Don't just immediately follow the reaction that takes place within yourself. Instead, stop, look, listen. Now, what this really is about, and this is one that I've been practicing very consciously, daily, with effort, with purpose. And what I can tell you is, it's interesting because in any situation, I've learned that there's this reaction that takes place. Say, let's choose a simple kind of conflict that some people experience. But again, remember, this doesn't have to be conflict. It's literally all day of your life. Let's say there's a mini conflict. Somebody disagrees with you on something or shouts something nasty at you, or I don't know, something like this. Immediately, you've got this reaction in you. Maybe you immediately feel triggered. Maybe you immediately feel defensive. Maybe your reaction is to explain to them, why they're being low vibe, or maybe your reaction is to stay silent, but you're just unconsciously judging them. Or essentially, we all have this kind of autopilot response that even if you're not acting it out into reality, even if you're keeping it to yourself, we immediately are identifying with a reactive state of our ego, of our false self, whatever you want to look at this as. So the difference is that in life, instead of reacting with your false self's response to everything, to any situation, instead, you simply watch. You watch your reaction. You look at it, right? You stop, as in you don't go along with the reaction. You don't identify with it. You don't project it into reality. You look at it. You really look. You really watch that reaction. And you'll see that it's not you. And then it fades out because you didn't give it any fuel. And now what do? You listen. Just listen to life. Almost like you heard a sound in the middle of the night and you're like listening with your whole being. What was that? That's the kind of listening we're talking about. When you do this, you are like a beacon and you're activated and you're not responding with the false self and you're ready to receive who you really are to come through you. So now when you act, you can do so from a place of being, not reacting, not from a place of false self, not from a place of unconsciousness, from a place of being, from a place of truth. So again, stop, look, and listen. There's a song, a little jingle. Stop, look, and listen, baby. That's my philosophy. I forget what that song is, but you can use that to remember. Stop, look, and listen. Don't go with your reactions. Watch them. See that they are not you. And then create yourself. But create yourself consciously, not unconsciously, right? The only enemy you have, ever, period, is that which you have not yet been honest about within yourself. Again, there are no enemies in life. The only enemy you ever face is the enemy of that which you have not yet taken a look at within yourself, that which you have not yet been honest about within yourself. Our enemies in life come from illusion. That's it. It comes from confusion. And it all is a manifestation from our unwillingness to be genuine. Our fear of being honest, our fear of really seeing what's here. Because it scares us. But remember, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of what you might find. Because all you'll find is eternal power and presence. So, there's no reason to be afraid. The fear is perpetuating itself by your unwillingness to take a look and be honest. Whenever you face a challenge in life, whenever something's happening in front of you that's bothering you, you can immediately know that there's something within yourself that you are not being honest about, and treat that as a reflection, as an opportunity for honesty to stop, look, listen, and be honest. See what's really here. See what's really going on. Don't be afraid. You can do it. Number 5, don't take these steps or laws too seriously. Don't take anything too seriously. That's the law. Have a sense of humor, especially about yourself. Because in life, if you're going to take it super seriously, you're really grounding and anchoring yourself to a very single perspective, a single vantage point, when there's so many other vantage points to see from. Don't take yourself so seriously. Having a sense of humor about things, about others, about yourself will take you far in life. So don't take these laws too seriously. And that takes us to number 6. The most important above all else of these laws is to remember them. It's to practice them. It's to exercise the actual effort to be awake, to not fall asleep. Again, it's really easy to be high vibe when things are going how you want them to go. But what about when it's not going the way you want it to go? Can you still remain conscious, or are you going to kick and scream and push against life? And you know what else? Just because it's easy to be high vibe when things are going the way you want them to, being high vibe, it doesn't mean that you're awake. Because when things really go the way you want them to, that's when it's easiest to turn off your conscious awareness and get lost in the experience. But all thoughts, all feelings, everything here in your life will fade back into nothing at some point. Because I don't know why, but it always does. It just fades. It just fades. And there's really no point to clinging to any of it. It doesn't mean you can't be here and experience it. It doesn't mean you can't be here and have the human experience. But if you follow these 6 laws and you're willing to be honest with yourself, you might discover something similar to what I have, maybe. There's a difference between having a real, genuine human experience and being lost in your mind the entire time it's happening and missing the entire show. Losing yourself into false self, losing yourself to unconsciousness is not having a human experience. That's having an unconscious mental experience. There's something else going on here for each of us. And how do you see it? How do you experience it? You just be honest. Just be honest. My favorite quote anyone's ever said to me, the most powerful thing any of my friends has ever shared with me, is my friend Daniel. And you want to know what he said? It was 2 years ago. I was in severe pain, mentally, physically. I just was resisting, And he says, just like the voice of God speaking straight through him to me, just keep telling the truth, he said. Just keep telling the truth. The truth, you probably have heard this quote before, the truth sets you free. I never understood until I was willing to be courageous with my honesty. There is so much freedom that comes with raw authenticity, unfiltered, unrelentless honesty. And I hope that you found this video beneficial. What was your favorite of the 6 laws that resonates with you the most? And if this was a video of 7 laws, what would the 7th be? I'd love to hear from you guys. Much love and see you for the next video. See ya.